webinar, the new Rotary Club Central, where we'll be giving you a short tour of the new Rotary Club Central, and we will answer some of your questions. How can you participate in the webinar today? You each have your own control panel on the right side of your screen that looks similar to the one we have displayed here. Use the orange arrow to open or close your control panel. In order to maintain the highest sound quality possible, all but our panelists and myself will be muted during the webinar. We encourage you to submit questions or comments to our panelists and to Rotary staff members by using the question box on your attendee control panel, which is on the right side of your screen. You can also use the question box if you're having technical difficulties. Simply describe the problems you're having in the question box on your control panel, and a Rotary staff member will assist you right away. Let's take a moment to practice using the question box. Please type your name and where you're joining us from. Okay, it looks like we've got some listeners from Grand Cayman, South Carolina, the UK, Ontario, Texas, Scotland. Oh my goodness, lots coming in here. Thank you everyone for all of your responses here and welcome. We're excited to have you today. My name is Victoria Schiffman. I work in Club and District Support at Rotary International, and I will be moderating today's session. Joe Ross is the product owner of Rotary Club Central, and he will be guiding us through the new tool and answer your questions over the next 30 to 45 minutes. During today's webinar, you will learn an overview of what's new in this version of Rotary Club Central. You'll get an idea of what we're working on in the future of the tool, and we'll give you some answers to your burning questions about Rotary Club Central. Please note that we may not be able to answer all of your questions during today's session, but rest assured that we will follow up with you via email afterwards to make sure you get the information you are requesting. So stay tuned for this important information. As a reminder, all attendees will receive a link to the slides and a recording of today's session via email within 48 hours. So you may be wondering why we upgraded Rotary Club Central and what's in it for you. While working on the new tool, one of the main targets was improving the speed. We hope you will notice faster response times once you've navigated to Rotary Club Central within the My Rotary website. Beyond that, the new Rotary Club Central was designed to be easier to enter your goals, easier to track your progress, and easier to view trends, all so that you can work more strategically with your club or your district. Before we dive into our tour, let's take a minute for a couple of quick polls to get to know our audience a little more. So the first poll, tell us what your current role is, and in a second you'll see that poll launching. Are you a regional leader, a district officer, a club member, or something else? And we'll give you a couple seconds here to lock in your answer, and then we'll give you a summary. So just a couple more seconds. Looks like we have a lot of club leaders, which is great. A good amount of district leaders. A handful of regional leaders and club members. Okay, so let's take a look at the results. So we got about 59% of you are club leaders, which is perfect. We are going to focus on the club leader experience today. But the info should be useful at all levels, and we will have additional opportunities for webinars with different focuses in the future. So those of you that are district leaders, regional leaders, or just club members, we hope you find this information valuable as well. And we'll take a look at one more poll here to get a quick sense of how familiar our audience today is with the new Rotary Club Central. Have you used the new Rotary Club Central? Let us know yes, no, or maybe you're not sure if what you've experienced on the website was actually Rotary Club Central, which is fine. So a couple more seconds here for your response. Got a lot of yeses, which is great. Okay. 61% are pretty confident they've been in the new Rotary Club Central, 26% have not yet, and 13% are not sure. So all of you will get a closer look at the tool today. Okay, so now the reason you're all here, we're going to have an exciting tour of the new Rotary Club Central, and with that, I'm going to pass the microphone over to Joe Roth. Joe?
Thank you, Victoria. Again, my name is Joe Roth. I am the product owner of the Member and Club Management team, which includes Rotary Club Central under my purview. And as Victoria said, we went through a project to revamp and revise this product. Our primary goal was system performance. We heard loud and clear that what we were producing just wasn't meeting your needs. Additionally, we had learned a lot about the presentation we were giving, and that we needed to make it easier, not just faster, but also easier interactions, fewer clicks, make it feel less overwhelming. So as I walk you through this, I'm going to highlight a little bit kind of the points that we made to try and make this a better experience. So you'll notice that when you come into the new Rotary Club Central, you land on a dashboard. This dashboard contains some high-level trend information about your club. This is information that was previously in the previous version of Rotary Club Central. That information includes membership trends, gender and age trends, project-related trends, and annual fund giving trends. Because our primary focus is on the club experience here, we focused on having everyone land first on their club. But you can see aggregates of your Assistant Governor Club Group, your district, your zone, or all of the Rotary world. Simply clicking here, and your screen will refresh with updated information about the Rotary world. Now, to address the system performance issue, we had to make a few decisions. Having heard how important system performance was, we realized that we could no longer present real-time data and have a system that performed as our audience wants. So we've made notes throughout the tool that the data you're seeing is going to be 24 hours old. You'll see these notes at the top of the screen, and you'll see as of dates below all the various data points we're presenting. So the heart of Rotary Club Central is club goals. All those goals are now located in the Goal Center. This left-hand navigation is very important to navigating the tool. Again, we have a front and center note that your information is going to be delayed. So if you just added a member in My Rotary, it'll be about 24 hours until it's recorded in Club Central. Because club and district leaders can make updates from last year, the current year, or the upcoming year, the ability to select your year is, again, front and center, always landing on the current year. Now, when you come in for the first time, you'll see a state similar to this, where you have categories of goals, and you'll be landing in the edit view. Now, Rotary Club Central contains a lot of goals. However, it was never our intention to tell clubs they needed to complete every goal in the tool. Rather, we wanted to present a menu of options for you to choose from and pick what's right for your club for this year. To achieve this and really reinforce that, we've gone through the process of selecting the goal and then entering the number. Now, if you're not certain what the particular goal is, or you want to know a little more information about that, your history with that goal, you can expand and get a a definition of what the goal is, and a 5-year history. Now, when you save the goal, you're only going to see the goals you've set, because we really want to reinforce and focus that this is about your club experience and what your club wants to work on. So if you are having members come in and check out what the club's working on for the year, they're only going to see what you're focusing on and not everything else. Another change we made in Rotary Club Central is specific to annual fund and polio cost contribution goals. Previously, this was all set in US dollars, but we know that clubs globally, while US dollars may be Rotary International's official currency of record, we know we're operating in many more, and we're embracing that. So you can select the currency to set your goal and track your achievements for both of these goals. Now, any sort of aggregations we're doing on these will go back to US dollars until we figure out the best and easiest way to do this. One of the great things about this product moving forward is the launch of our project and the launch of this new version is really the beginning of the new product. And we're going to continue evolving and making improvements as we go. We also get a lot of questions specific to the Rotary citation. The Rotary citation includes a number of Rotary Club Central goals. Some of them are one-time kind of special goals decided by the RI president. And those goals are located in the Rotary citation. Again, if you're not quite sure what we mean by this, you can expand and see a definition. You select the goal and mark it as achieved to make progress towards your citation. Now, some years, the citation also includes goals that we have every year in Rotary Club Central. One example is often youth exchange goals. These goals will continue to be tracked in the same location they've always been, instead of moving them around every year. Finally, we've added an All tab. In our research, we talked to a lot of club secretaries that were tasked with maintaining and updating every month progress towards goals or whatever it may be. In the All tab, you will find all of the goals in the tool. We've added a feature here where you can sort to the top the goals your club has selected. This way, it's an easy one-stop shop to manage everything. Again, when you save, you're only going to see the goals that you've set. Another feature we've added here is some improved print functionality. When you're in this viewing mode and click print, you will get a screen that shows, and a print-ready screen that shows all of the goals you've set for the year. If you want a list of all the goals in the tool, you can simply click Edit and then hit Print to view every goal available. Finally, from a quick viewpoint, underneath your club's name, we have a record of progress towards your goals to see how many goals you've set and how you're doing towards achieving those goals. All right, Victoria, it looks like we have a question.
Yes, we do have a couple of good questions here that I will pose while we're on the section. We've got someone asking, I'm a current club president. Why can't I edit my club's goals?
That's a great question, and one we get sometimes. There could be a few things. First and foremost, you need to verify that you are recorded as your club's president with Rotary International. And you can do that through My Rotary or contacting the Rotary International staff. Additionally, you need to verify you're on the right year for your club. So if you're an incoming president, you'll need to go forward a year. If you're the current president, of course, you'll land on the current year. Or if you're last year's president, coming back to make some last-minute updates, you can always go back a year.
Okay, one more question here. I want to enter details about my club's service projects, but I only see a service goal. What do I do?
That is a great question. And this is actually a great segue for us as well, because this is somewhere where we've made a significant change. In the previous tool, we had a goal for a number of service projects that you wanted to complete. And then you kind of scrolled below there and saw all the ability to add all the details of every project. But really, they are two very different types of interactions, so we're going to treat them that way. Here's where you can enter the goal for the number of projects you want to complete. You'll see in the definition here, we're going to reference you over to the Service Activities tab. This is where you can track all of your service project information. Your landing page includes some options on what you want to do. You can edit and update or view the projects you've completed, the projects you've entered but not yet completed, and a high-level summary of the data points relating to your projects. And this can be very valuable information for your club when you're pursuing any sort of public image initiatives, trying to tell your own community the story of your club. This really takes the idea of a project or series of projects and gives some hard data to reinforce what you're doing. So we'll go through and add a new project. You'll see there are only two fields required to save a project, a title and a start date. But I'm going to go through a little bit more than that. With the dates, we always recommend you use the calendar. This ensures the formatting is correct. Our research identified there are many different ways to enter a date, and to have one unified front, we're adding a calendar. You can enter an end date if you want, but it is not required. You can also use this if you're planning to project the number of volunteers you're going to have, as well as the actual, the volunteer hours, the cash contributions, and any sort of in-kind donations. I will note that as of right now, this continues to be in US dollar. However, we are working on development right now that will allow you to select your currency in these service projects moving forward. Additionally, you can select categories and partners. When you're done, you hit save, and it's down the list. To update a project, you simply click on it, make any changes you need, if you want, you can mark it complete, save it, and it'll now be in your completed list. Another feature we've added is the ability to repeat past service projects. One point we heard very loud and clear from club leaders all around the world is that there's a lot of projects that you're doing every year or maybe every month or however it may be, but it's the same basic principled project. So to avoid the repeat data entry, we gave you the ability to repeat a past project. You simply select and copy. The information will all copy over. All that's required is adding a new start date. Additionally, if you are using this in a planning capacity, we're going to provide you with the previous projected and actual. So you know what went into the project and what it actually took to make the project happen. Of course, you can also add categories or make any changes you feel necessary. One question we've heard a lot is how do we track projects that span across multiple Rotary years? We've tried to make that reference point here, but essentially we'll ask you to create sections or segments of the project so that you record what was done during the 16-17 year under one project as part one, and then part two would be the 17-18 year or however it may be. But we would ask you to record those in parts to help with your data tracking. All right, looks like we have a few more questions.
Yes, it looks like we've got a lot of questions about service activities. One is, how should I enter the total volunteer hours and project contributions for the citation this year?
Oh, that's a great question. So you can track those project by project here to come up with some effective numbers. So if you want to know the total volunteer hours, this is a great way to come up with those numbers. If you have another way that you want to track those things, in the Goal Center, you can go to Rotary Citation, and we have a couple of goals here, specific to total service volunteer hours and project contributions. If you're looking to simply record the achievement in relation to the citation criteria, you can come here and enter your achievement. We've also set this up to be a goal. So if you do have a goal that you want your club to commit so many hours of volunteer service, you can set it up right here. When you save, you'll have met that requirement.
Okay, another question is, how do I mark achievement of my service project goal? So I think they're referring to the goal,
yes.
The Goal Center for service activities.
That's a great question. So you'll see that, we'll go here just to show you. You'll see that this achievement is not an editable field. Rather, it's going to take the projects that you've marked as complete. So once you mark this project as complete and hit save, it will reflect in the Goal Center. And we have 3. Okay. And that's the primary transactions you'll be taking as a club leader. Now, if you're interested in a little bit more in-depth information or a little bit bigger picture type of information, you can go to our global view. The global view is going to provide you different aggregate levels of information about these various goals. You're always going to start on global, but you can see totals for the clubs in your zone, clubs in your district, or even the clubs in your assistant governor club group. You can see the number of clubs that have set a particular goal, their achievement towards the goal, and their aggregate goal altogether. Again, you'll be presented with an as-of date to know when the information is from. The goals in this section are organized in a manner, the exact same manner as the goal center. Now, if you're not quite sure how we did the math here, or something doesn't, you're not quite sure how we did that, we have these informational icons that'll tell you what each of these numbers mean. Another important point is our resource section. Here we have resources on a variety of topics. We've organized these by goal category as a quick link to other tools you can find in My Rotary or resources in My Rotary to help you understand your goals and achieve them. One important feature we've added here is the general resources, where you have a quick link to Rotary's Learning Center, where you can find a course on Rotary Club Central. In that course, we have a variety of how-to guides that are focused on very specific items, such as how do I set a goal, how do I update a goal, how do I enter service projects, and how do I view information in this product. Finally, there are some reports located in Rotary Club Central as well. These reports are organized in a manner very similar to the way they were in the previous system, by categories of members and engagement, service, and giving. I'd like to take a moment to show you how this works on a mobile device. For example, an iPhone 6. Sorry about that, folks. We are going to take a look at some technical things here for just a moment. There we go. So you'll see this icon here helps the navigation along. So now all this information is completely mobile friendly. And you are able to enter all the information right here. So if you are using this on site to track service hours for a particular project, you can come here and make those updates. And be done with it. If you're unsure of, again, where you're at or what this particular thing is, we do have descriptions, again, throughout. And you can still see all of the same information. Now, one important note is that while we do show the catalog of reports available in Rotary Club Central, the software that generates our reports is not mobile friendly, so you may have some issues with trying to generate those reports on a mobile device. I know many use iPads for this type of interaction. So we would recommend you do that from a desktop, save it as either an Excel or PDF, and then you can view it in on your mobile device. Now, like I had mentioned, this is what I would refer to as the new beginning of this product. We do have several pieces that we're going to be looking at improving as we move forward. And our hope is to continue gaining feedback, insights, understanding the things that you guys appreciate about the new system, what we've done well, and places where we need to continue improving, or anything we missed on. So I'm going to very strongly encourage each and every one of you to always reach out to RI if you have feedback, you have thoughts, you're interested in participating in our usability testing or providing any feedback. Please do so, as it's going to help us continue to make this product better. And with that, I think we've concludes our walkthrough of Rotary Club Central. We really appreciate your time today. And let me hand back over to Victoria.
Thank you, Joe. That was some great information about the tool. I know there's still lots of questions that have come through to us that we'll take the time to answer now, and feel free to continue to ask questions as we're going through this portion. For now, I want to back it up a little bit to the basics of the tool. We have some basic questions about the tool and accessing it. So one question that we do hear a lot is, who can edit goals?
That's a great question. So goal editing is focused primarily on the club leaders that RI tracks. So if we know that you're a club president, a secretary, a treasurer, executive secretary, membership chair, foundation chair, you will have edit access for your club. Additionally, several district officers maintain edit access, including your assistant governor. However, we really focus this on being an experience for your club, and their edit access is granted is a way to help support you.
Okay. How about can Rotarians modify their goals throughout the year? Are they locked in once they enter them?
Great question. We never lock goals. Your goals can change at any time before your year, during your year, or even after your year. And that's especially true with achievements as well. Many of the goals in this tool are things that we don't have the ability to report on. So you would need to come in and report what your progress was to that particular goal.
Okay. Another question that we do get from time to time is, once you're in Rotary Club Central, how do you get back to My Rotary?
That's, again, a great question. So it depends on how your browser is set up. One of the things that we've learned that we need to add here is a quick link back to My Rotary. And that's one of the pieces that we're working on in the coming weeks, that we're going to hope to get in pretty quickly. Until that time, you can go in your address bar to myrotary.org, or if your browser opens it in a new tab, you can simply close that tab out. And actually, we just got another question as well. With our mobile version, we want to make clear that that is actually not an app. Rather, that is the website is enabled for your mobile browser. So you would log in on your mobile browser, similar to how you do on your desktop.
Okay, this is a question we got from lots of you. So we know a lot of clubs and districts will use third-party local databases. Different countries have different versions of those databases. It could be Club Runner, DACDB, different versions like that. A lot of you are wondering, do those local databases link into Rotary Club Central?
Again, another great question. So the information from those should be set up to sync with Rotary International systems. Now, that is a process that you need to actively engage in to let Rotary International and the vendor know that you want to share information between the two systems. For Rotary Club Central specifically, goals are not integrated with any third-party vendors at this time. But the data that for membership, for example, your progress towards a membership goal would be reflected from any third-party systems you are using if you've chosen to integrate that data with RI.
Okay, now if you don't mind, we've got a lot of questions still about the service projects. So if we could go back to that area. One question is, what about ongoing projects? So projects that are going to span more than the Rotary year or maybe overlap partially between 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, if that's something that your club is actively doing over multiple years, you would set up a kind of part 1, part 2. We looked at ways to best incorporate this while capturing the data for the correct years. And we found the best way to do that is to set up part 1 of a project with your dates as they're spanning, and it may go till the end of the Rotary year for part 1. Would recommend you select that and then copy and paste. You can set up part 1 for the year, and then during the next year, repeat that project and make it part 2.
Okay, another question about service projects. Are regular Rotary programs like RILA or Youth Exchange considered service projects? And we also get this question from other Rotarians asking about maybe the time that they spend doing various functions for their club.
And I would say that is really up to your club. I think we've built this with the focus of community service, so to speak, but we do offer the ability to track fundraisers and things like that. So really it's a matter of what suits the needs of your club, because that's what we're trying to build here, is an experience that meets your needs. Now that said, for youth goals in particular, we do have specific goals for RILA, Rotaract, Exchange, etc. So we do have those as an option as well to track that that's something your club's working on. But if you do want to focus on those particular type of projects, we do have categories for young leaders or fundraisers or whatever it may be.
Okay, thank you, Joe. So it looks like the questions are slowing down a little bit. If you still have questions, we still have a little bit of time, so feel free to keep asking them. There are a couple questions that we've gotten here so far that I know we haven't answered yet. So if you're waiting for an answer, it could be that that question is better answered offline. So look for an email from us, and we will connect with you one-on-one on those answers. Let's see here.
And I also want to make clear as well that this is, our initial webinar for the new Rotary Club Central. We do plan on hosting more webinars over the course of this year to focus on the various functions that this tool can serve. We will focus one for district leaders, for example, and how the information you can use to help your clubs.
Okay, thanks, Joe. If you have additional questions, again, feel free to keep asking them, and we will follow up with you afterwards. Okay, so that concludes our tour. And we've answered some of your questions. Again, we are happy to continue taking questions after this webinar. you can see on this slide an email address that you can use to send additional questions, or if you happen to know who your CDS officer is, feel free to reach out to them directly. But we can take questions at cds@rotary.org. That stands for Club and District Support. And thank you all for participating today. As a reminder, we will follow up with a link to view a recording of today's webinar. And if you have asked a question that we did not have time to answer during today's session, you will still receive an email with a response. If you have any additional questions, again, please email us at cds@rotary.org. You will also receive a survey after this webinar. Your feedback is important to us, as your survey responses will be used to improve future webinars offered by Rotary. Please take a moment to complete the survey and give us your input. On behalf of our panelists, Joe Roth and the other Rotary staff that are helping, thank you for attending today's webinar. And remember, if you enjoyed today's webinar, you can register for upcoming webinars and check out the recordings of past webinars on the Rotary website at www.rotary.org/webinars. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.